Hello and welcome. You're watching the Wednesday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavinson. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now put to rest. Sonia Gandhi, accused number 1, Rahul Gandhi, accused number 2. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, I get you full details of the National Herald scam. For the first time on television, details of the charge sheet that was filed on 9th of April. And now, more details come in, the collusion in which both Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi have operated, and they cannot hide. They cannot simply play the victim card, and I'll tell you why. But up first, let's take you through the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Robert Vadra grilled for 6 hours on day 2, continues with political vendetta excuse. Republic questions Rahul Gandhi. He remains silent. His security blocks Republic reporter. Big development in freedom for profit scam. Republic gets you the exclusive charge sheet details. Top court takes cognizance of the violence over Waqf law, calls it disturbing.
মুর্শিদাবাদ জেলা হলেও সিটটা কিন্তু মালদার মধ্যে পড়ে এবং ইটস এ প্রি প্ল্যান্ড কমিউনাল রাইটস ইফ আই সে সো, কারণ আমিও পাবলিকের কাছ থেকে অনেক ইনফরমেশন পাচ্ছি।
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee calls Murshidabad violence pre-planned, targets border security force. Tariff war escalates between the United States of America and China. Trump administration imposes 245% tariff on China. Ladies and gentlemen, Republic TV has exclusively accessed the charge sheet that has been filed by the Enforcement Directorate in the National Herald case. The ED investigation reveals that young Indian was effectively controlled by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi since they together held 76% of shares. Now, the argument that has been made by Rahul Gandhi in the interrogation that was done by the Enforcement Directorate was that these decisions were not taken by him or his mother. In fact, they passed the buck on Motilal Vora. In fact, the charge sheet that has now been accessed by Republic TV puts out details that this is a pure lie. This was a criminal conspiracy that was hatched by the AICC members along with Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. This is what this document that I'm holding right now says. In fact, joining us on this broadcast would also be my colleague and our legal editor, Anand Bhardwaj, breaking it down for us. What does this charge sheet mean? And for the first time, we're going to take you through new details emerging from the investigation that has been carried out by the Enforcement Directorate. Now, let me first take you. We're going to break it down into 4 parts. The first part is with regards to the company that was created called the Young Indian. Enforcement Directorate's investigation has revealed that Young Indian was actually receiving certain donations. If we can just quickly take you through the details that are emerging, and I'll also bring in my colleague Anand Bhardwaj taking you through the details of this particular charge sheet, the details of it. They say that Young Indian, a company that was incorporated in the name of Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. On your screens right now, details of it. Bogus donations that were received by Young Indian, and this was to the tune of 18 crore rupees. Let me now go across to my colleague, our legal editor, Rhythm, who's joining us on this broadcast. Rhythm, these are details that haven't emerged as yet. In fact, this charge sheet clearly talks about the circuitous manner in which the money was brought in, how the money thereafter was being diverted, and how they had usurped properties worth 2,000 crore rupees. This is known. 2,000 crore rupees worth assets were usurped, but where did these donations really come from?
Absolutely, that's the big question, Shravan. The ED investigation reveals Young Indian received donations. This is to the tune of 18.12 crores, approximately from different entities in 2017. These entities are not genuine. What was the purpose of collecting bogus donations to discharge what? It says it was done to discharge the income tax demand of young Indians. And why was it wanting to discharge the income tax demand of young Indians? It goes on to say because this tax demand would have otherwise fallen on the majority shareholders and beneficial owners of young Indian, that is Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. And that's the big breaking news, because actually on this page 5 of page 14, it says young Indian was effectively controlled by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. They together held 76% shares through a well thought out conspiracy. This is not just manufactured fact, Shravan, but clearly in black and white writing, it shows majority shareholders and beneficial owners are Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. Young Indian got bogus donations. Who was it benefiting and who was discharging the income tax demand? It was being discharged by Young Indian, and it could have fallen on the shoulders of the majority shareholders, that is Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, to stop them from having any such things fall on their shoulders. That shows that the accused having been continuing to indulge in the offence of money laundering by using Young Indian as an instrument, Shravan, to generate further proceeds of crime.
Well, that's first part of our breaking news coming in. These were bogus donations that were found. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate in the charge sheet lists out the number of donations that were received, and some, it turns out, for people who were not even alive. Let me take you through the second breaking news now coming in. The investigation further reveals that AJL collected bogus rent to the tune of 38 crore rupees just in 1 year. 2017 and 2018. The rent, in fact, was found to be fake. No rent agreement that was signed. On the inquiry, it was found that the money that was transferred to AJL was on the instruction of senior Congress leaders without any commercial transaction. Ladies and gentlemen, the big question emerges, who were these Congress leaders? Because the mastermind, it appears, was someone else. Was it from within the AICC? Because the instruction was this, as I understand, Rhythm, was the fact that when they basically came to power, they devised this entire conspiracy that you have 2,000 crore worth asset that is available. AJL basically says that we are not going to sell this off. A loan is basically given. This new company is brought in so that effectively you have Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi being the owners of these properties worth 2,000 crore rupees. Over to you, Rhythm, with the other big breaking news now coming in as to how they were receiving the rents.
In fact, Shravan, like you telling us, we have to also tell our viewers what we're trying to put out here. These were dubious donations. This is rent. AJL claimed to have received a revenue of 29.45 crore rupees from advertisements that were published in the newspaper in 2017 and 2020. It's revealed out of this 15 crore rupees was claimed to be received from various Congress bodies, and the rest of the amount, that's 13 crore, was received from other entities. Most of the advertisements, it says, does not even give or commensurate with business purpose of the donors, as advertisements were mostly being done in the form of congratulatory messages or birthday wishes, and therefore this has to be seen. Shravan, if I can pinpoint what is clearly shocking here, and I'm going to go across to that later, but Shravan, in what you've pointed out is also clear to mention who is this Congress leader, under whose instructions any commercial actual transaction was done, because it says here in point 4 that the AJL collected bogus advance rent to the tune of 38.41 crore rupees during the period of 2017-2018. The rent received was found to be fake, as no rent agreements existed. On inquiry, it was found the money was transferred to AJL on instructions of senior Congress leaders without any actual commercial transaction. And it doesn't get bigger than this. If there are senior Congress leaders with no commercial transactions, Shravan, then who was getting benefited when Young Indian was giving out advance bogus, when AJL was collecting bogus advance rent?
Well, in fact, let me just also point out more details coming in, because it appears that all this while we were only talking about Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Suman Dubey and a few others like Motilal Vora. In fact, in the investigation that has been carried out, Rahul Gandhi in a written statement has actually passed the buck by simply saying Motilal Vora was the one who was taking the decisions. You need to stay with us, as I'm going to bring to you in a short while from now how this entire argument has fallen flat in this entire investigation that has been carried out, and also it has been given to the court right now. We're going to come to that in a short while from now, but let's take you through the part 4 of our breaking. AJL has made a claim, and the claim was that they have received revenue of rupees 29 crore rupees, and this was in the form of advertisement published in the newspaper during 2017, 2018 to 2020 and 2021. Now it is revealed that out of this 15 crore rupees claimed to have been received from various Congress affiliated bodies, and the rest of the amount was about 13.59 crore rupees that was received from other entities. Most of the advertisement given does not even commensurate with the business purposes of the donors, as these advertisements are mostly in the form of congratulatory messages or birthday wishes to the Congress top leaders. Now that's part 4 of our breaking. I'll go back to my colleague Rhythm. There are four elements that basically emerges, but before that, let me just quickly recap of what we know so far in this entire charge sheet that has been accessed. Number 1, AJL has basically claimed 29 crore rupees and revenue that was between 2017 and 2021. It is AJL who had basically told AICC that, look here, we cannot make the repayment of the loan, and if at all AJL wanted to repay, then they could have simply sold off their assets, which did not happen. 15.86 crore came from the Congress-linked organizations. Which are these organizations? For the first time tonight, more question emerges that it just does not end with National Herald. There are other organizations affiliated to Congress that was bringing in the money. 13.59 crore rupees that was received from other private entities. That's the new aspect that basically has emerged from this investigation. Will the court thereafter look into this entire matter and perhaps take this investigation further? Ads were basically, they lacked clear business purposes for the donors, because the donors made no mention of what was the purpose for which this donation was actually being made to the Congress party itself. Let's take you through them. More ads were mostly greetings to Congress leaders that were brought in. This is what the Enforcement Directorate says. Ad includes birthdays, congratulatory and generic messages, and you have AJL saying that they have received 29 crore rupees from this. Now that's the claim that they have made. Revenue generation lacked genuine commercial intent is what the Enforcement Directorate says. Let's just take you through another aspect that emerges from the investigation. Pattern raises questions on the legitimacy of the transaction, because it turns out that these are dubious transactions that have essentially taken place, putting the entire spotlight on what has happened so far. Let me bring in my colleague Rhythm, who's joining us on this broadcast. Rhythm, 5 new aspects that basically emerges from this entire investigation. Point number 1, if just to recap for all our viewers who are tuning in right now, that the effective control of a young Indian was none other than Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. They were holding roughly about 76%. Then you have young Indian receiving dubious donations worth about 18 crore rupees. AJL collecting rent for about 38 crore rupees. And you have AJL then also saying that they have additional revenue basically coming in. If they had the revenue, why did they go in for that loan in the first place?
Absolutely. And Shravan, I want to pinpoint one very big factor in the last breaking that you have done, and the big breaking news papers that have been accessed by you, this charge sheet that the ED has now filed in the Patiala House Court. The charge sheet that says AJL claimed to have received a revenue of 29.45 crore rupees with advertisements. It says here very clearly, and I think in everything that I've read, what shows me more than anything that this is the guilt of Sonia and Rahul Gandhi, and they will have to answer this, is this. It says that there was advertisements received of 29 crore rupees. The persons whose names were mentioned in the ledger of advertisements were summoned. They stated they had paid the amount on instructions of the Congress leaders. And some of them even deposed that the money was paid to seek protection from the Congress leaders in the course of their regular businesses. Why was the Congress trying to give out protection? Is it when they were in power, they were taking favors, giving out veiled threats, or giving out this? Let me just read out this very important 5 lines in this charge sheet accessed by Shravan, where it says the persons whose names were mentioned in the ledgers of the advertisements were summoned. They stated they had paid the amount on instructions of the Congress leaders, and they deposed the money was paid to seek protection from the Congress leaders in the course of their regular businesses. I don't think it gets more shocking than this, because this is not only just simple fraud, this is not only just simple taking money laundering, but this is actually veiled threats being given by the most senior Congress leaders, or in the name of the most senior Congress leaders, Shravan.
Well, in fact, as I said, Rhythm, there are unanswered questions. Perhaps the Enforcement Directorate also needs to come out clean on this aspect as to why is it that the Enforcement Directorate makes no mention of who are these other Congress leaders. In fact, I did actually speak to one of my sources asking that who's the mastermind behind it, because at the end of the day, if they are saying that there are other Congress leaders who are involved in it, was there no treasury? And the fact that if there was a treasurer, whether that person was called in for questioning, what exactly transpired thereafter. Now, the key findings of the charge sheet itself. Let's just quickly move on this. Sonia Gandhi has been named as accused number 1 and Rahul Gandhi number 2. Accused conspired to usurp AGL assets worth about 2,000 crore rupees. Young Indian bought AJL for just about 50 lakh rupees is what the Enforcement Directorate says. Sonia and Rahul Gandhi held 76% shares in Young Indian. And then you have AJL shares transferred via 90 crore rupees AICC loan. Now, this was the loan that was given. Loan assigned for 50 lakh rupees. It's again massive undervaluation. You're talking about a 2,000 crore worth assets, loan about 50 lakh rupees. Young Indians got about 18 crore rupees in dubious donations. Let's move on. Donations used to settle Young Indians' tax dues, because it turns out that they wanted to perhaps evade certain taxes that they were supposed to pay. Income tax department had also stepped in. In fact, there was a scathing assessment that was made by them. AJL collected 38 crore rupees as fake advance rent is what ED claims in its charge sheet. No rent agreements existed for the received payments. Again, this is the claim that has been made by them. Funds moved on Congress leaders' instructions only. This is what the Enforcement Directorate says as far as the fund movement is concerned. No real business deals behind these money flows as far as the transactions that have essentially taken place between AJL as well as Young Indian. Now, there is this entire scheme that was hatched. In fact, back in 2010 itself, this was hatched. And in 2009, they were basically looking at how the scheme basically evolved. There's a flow chart of this entire process of how exactly the money moved. Let's put that out. Now, what we're going to do is take you through the details of it. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, is how the money exactly came in. All India Congress Committee, AICC, gave a cumulative loan of 90 crore rupees to AJL on multiple occasions during 2002, 2003 to 2010 to 11. So multiple times the loan has been given. Loan of 90 crore rupees given by AICC to AJL was treated as non-recoverable by the AICC. Now, interestingly, what happens? Associated Journals Limited, AJL, that is the holding company of National Herald, they come into the picture. AJL issues 9 crore rupees shares of rupees 10 each to Young Indian against the alleged loan of 90 crore rupees taken from AICC, and subsequently assigned it to Young Indian for a paltry sum of just 50 lakh rupees. So in 50 lakh rupees, they have already gone ahead with the shares. Now, by transferring the shareholding of AJL, the beneficial ownership, its underlying assets worth about 2,000 crore rupees, stands transferred to Young Indian. So who is the ultimate beneficiary? The ultimate beneficiary here are the directors of Young Indian. And who are the directors of Young Indian? The directors are, behold, is Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. So effectively, the owner of the 2,000 crore rupees asset is Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi. They are the direct beneficiaries. And that is the reason why the Enforcement Directorate says that they are going to be accused number 1 and accused number 2. Interestingly, what is also important to point out, the other big breaking news before I go to the other big story that I'm getting to tonight is Rahul Gandhi, can we put out that breaking news now coming in? Because that's an additional information that we have been able to pick up so far. Because in the statement that was recorded, Rahul Gandhi, in a written statement to the Enforcement Directorate, says that he does not know how all of this happened, who exactly took the decisions. He simply passed the buck to the other accused in this case, that is Motilal Vora. He passed away 3 years ago. A source now indicating this, that if at all, he was the ultimate beneficiary, or he was the ultimate decision maker. He had 24% shares. He has passed away. 3 years have passed now. No legal heir has come forward taking control of the 24% shares allotted to Motilal Vora. So is this some sort of a Benami transaction that was taking place? And in the name of Motilal Vora, were there transactions actually taking place? An answer that perhaps the Congress party and their leaders will have to make before the court. Now that's the first big breaking news now coming in. Only network getting you details of the National Herald scam. We've gone beyond what is there in the public domain. There are more charges, serious charges that have been leveled. Perhaps it remains to be seen how exactly the Congress party will finally respond to it. Let me also take you through the other big breaking news now coming in with the other big story that's doing the rounds. Ladies and gentlemen, on your screens right now, these are the latest images of Rahul Gandhi. In fact, Rahul Gandhi this morning was questioned by our reporter in Gujarat about the charges that have been leveled against him in the National Herald scam. In fact, he has remained silent. Then, right now also remember, there is no answer really coming in from Rahul Gandhi as well as Sonia Gandhi as far as these charges are concerned. In fact, Robert Vadra, who's been fielded by the Congress party, particularly by the Vadras there, simply saying that there is a malified intention on the part of the Enforcement Directorate to file a charge sheet against Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. These are the images now coming in. We'll also try and put out this morning when Republic reporter in Gujarat had questioned Rahul Gandhi.
Rahul, what do you have to say about the National Herald case and the investigation that is being carried out? But don't touch me, yeah. Don't touch me. Rahul, what do you have to say about the National Herald case and the investigation that is being carried out? But don't touch me, yeah. Rahul, what do you have to say about the National Herald case? The investigation that is being carried out. But don't touch me, yeah. Rahul, what do you have to say about the National Herald case and the investigation that is being carried out? But don't touch me, yeah. Rahul, what do you have to say about the National Herald case and the investigation that is being carried out? But don't touch me, yeah.
I'll take you through a special report. Ladies and gentlemen, in Tamil Nadu's Vellore district, a land dispute has stirred up tension in Kattukolai village, where about 150 Hindu families are facing eviction threats over claims that have been made by the state Waqf board. Now, as the Supreme Court hears pleas challenging the Waqf Act, the conflict on the ground is simply escalating. Our reporter Sharada brings you a ground report stating how exactly a bizarre move that has been made by the Waqf board yet again, and that is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, the amendment was the need of the hour.
This quiet village near Vellore has turned into the epicenter of a growing controversy. Home to around 150 Hindu families for over 5 generations, Kattukolai is now caught in a legal and religious battle over land ownership.
We are right here in Velos Kotkali village, where it's been said that the land of the 330 area belongs to the Waqf board here. However, the people here seem to say that they have been here for more than 5 generations and that they would not be leaving this place without getting a proper justice. However, though the eviction notice that's been given by the Waqf board says they are only asked to pay the rent, if not, they would be asked to leave the place. However, now the people here say that Mr. Syed, who had been giving them the notice, have also collected multiple taxes from them each and every time when he was low on cash.
The Tamil Nadu Waqf board, supported by a local dargah, claims the land legally belongs to them under the 1956 Waqf Act and is now asking villagers to pay rent or vacate.
என்ன வருஷமா இந்த ஊர்ல இருக்கீங்க?
நான் பிறந்ததுலேருந்து இங்கே தான் இருக்கோம், இதிலே தான் இருக்கோம். தலைமுறையாக இருக்கும். எத்தனை தலைமுறையாக இருக்கும்னு கேட்டேன். எல்லாம் 4, 5, 6 தலைமுறை ஆகிட்டு இருக்கும். 6 தலைமுறை.
இப்போ திடீர்னு நோட்டீஸ் கொடுத்து நீங்கள் எங்கள் நோட்டீஸ்க்கு நீங்கள்
யாரும் அதெல்லாம் கொடுக்கல. இப்போ வந்து ஒரு ஆள் மட்டும்தான் கொடுக்குறாரு.
அந்த நோட்டீஸில் என்ன இருக்குன்னு பார்த்தீங்களா, படித்து பார்த்தீங்களா?
பார்க்கலாம், கொடுத்துருக்குறாங்க, நாங்களாம் வைக்கணுங்கிறாங்க. யாருன்னா இந்த எடுத்துனாங்க
But Syed Sadam, a local dargah caretaker and member of the Waqf board, says that his family has long-standing records with the state board.
As per the records from the 1954 till 1990s, it was just a agricultural land. That is like it was a dry land, and even my father, he has given the petition to the Superintendent of Waqf Chennai and as well as to the district collector in the 1991, and they have not taken any steps to that. Afterwards, he has taken many steps to stop the electricities or some registration works which was done illegally there. So far the government has not taken any action. So that is why I have given a notice to them to pay the land rent to us.
The villagers claim they were in talks with Syed, but only after the final notice did the Revenue Divisional Officer and District Revenue Officer step in.
அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு எல்லாருக்குமே ஒரு வீடு கூட தவிரல, எல்லாருக்கும் இருக்குது. அதாவது வந்து கிரயம் பண்ணவங்களும் இருக்கிறாங்க, கிரயம் பண்ணாதவங்களும் இருக்கிறாங்க. எல்லாம் நிறைய பேர் இருக்கிறாங்க. வீடு கட்டுறதுனாக்க அதுக்கும் காசு வாங்கிக்கணும்.
With no formal complaint filed earlier, tensions boiled over. The Hindu People Front has now approached the district collectorate demanding protection and clarity over land rights.
சுமார் 150 குடும்பங்கள் 4 தலைமுறையாக வாழ்ந்து கொண்டு வருகின்றன. இக்குடும்பத்தில் வக்ஃப் போர்டு இடம் என்பதால் அவர்கள் நோட்டீஸ் அனுப்பியுள்ளார்கள். அந்த நோட்டீஸுக்கு 7 நாள் நாங்கள் கெடு கொடுக்குறோம். அந்த நோட்டீஸ் அதுக்கு உண்டான பதில் வரவில்லை என்றால் நாங்கள் எல்லா இடத்தையும் ஜேசிபி வச்சு இடிப்பும்படி சொல்லிவிட்டு போனார்கள். இதை பற்றி நாங்கள் மாவட்ட ஆட்சியாளர் அவர்களையும் சென்ற வெள்ளிக்கிழமை சந்தித்தோம் மற்றும் நேற்று ஆர்டிஓ அவர்களை பார்த்து சந்தித்து